This program is brought to you by the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Louisville. We provide the professional expertise, tools, and resources to help you succeed. To connect with a business coach, call 502-625-0123 or email sbdcinfo@uky.edu. Whoops, the light just went out. Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, still good morning, and welcome to another Toolkit Tuesday with the Small Business Development Center here in Louisville. I'm Janet Flaw, and I welcome you today. Dave couldn't make it with us today, but we're really excited to continue this series that we're doing with the Human Relations Commission with the City of Louisville. And so I'm going to welcome Daniel Daddy from that. Good afternoon, Daniel.
Good morning. Thank you for having me and having our office be a part of this again. It's been a great partnership these past couple months. So I guess
I apologize. I mispronounced your name as Daniel Dottie. I'm so sorry.
All good. It's not the first time.
So I'm going to step back and I'll let you guys get started. And I'll let you introduce our guest as well. So
Thank you. So yeah, good morning, everyone. Like Janet mentioned, my name is Daniel Dottie. I'm with the Louisville Metro Human Relations Commission. Before really get started and everything, I quickly want to say thank you again to Janet and Dave and the rest of the team at Small Business Development Center. It's been a great partnership with them and the Louisville Metro Human Relations Commission. But before I hand things over to Ms. Curry to go over the marketing fundamentals for contractors and trades, which is something I'm very interested in learning more about, and our department as well. But before I hand it over to her, I would like to, take a page out of her book and do some little marketing for our department and kind of the services that we offer. So very quickly, our office, we certify minority, women-owned businesses. That's kind of what we highlight, but we also do disabled-owned businesses, veteran-owned, and then most recently we started doing LGBT-owned businesses, certifying local businesses for that. So very quickly, we try to offer our services as more of like a marketing tool to really get some small businesses and minority women-owned businesses to get their foot in the door and to really show the value that they add and what the services they can provide, the great services that they can provide for the local community here. So that's what we really try to strive for and market that towards. We partner with SBDC, Small Business Association as well, and other private local organizations to really, highlight some of these smaller companies and try to help them grow and not only succeed, but to also thrive in the local Louisville community. So if you see here on the slide, I don't want to bore you with reading everything verbatim, but we have our online application that's at the bottom of the screen. I encourage you to check that out and create an account. It's free of charge. Our certifications are free. So we really encourage you to, check it out, look over the application, see, what it entails, and really encourage you to sign up for it and to apply, because it's not going to hurt our feelings if you don't need it or you think you're striving without it. But, we also want to try to add value to your company and to help you grow. So that's really what we strive for. We send out invites to webinars like this, other events to really help grow your business and really just help out in the local community. So with specifically within the city of Louisville, we have utilization goals. As you can see here, 15% minority-owned businesses, 5% women-owned, and 0.5% for disabled-owned businesses. And that's for City of Louisville contracts. We really encourage y'all to come out to pre-bid meetings for our contracts to meet the buyers and the project managers and to create another avenue of networking for businesses to really help grow their companies. So we also have these nice little digital seals that we, again, strive for the marketing aspect of what we offer, because we really encourage y'all to, use these on your websites, your email signatures to really highlight, what local businesses are looking for minority and women-owned businesses to utilize their services. So again, our contact information's there via phone and email. So send us an email, give us a phone call, ask for me. Again, my name's Daniel Dottie, and be happy to help you guys out. And with that, I'll pass things along to Miss Curry, and really excited to hear what she has to say.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yes.
Okay, wanting to make sure that everyone can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Well, first, good morning, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and begin sharing our presentation today. Very excited to have partnered with the Human Relations Commission and SBDC for today. Hopefully, you guys are all able to see. For our time today, we'll be covering from skills to scale, our marketing fundamentals for trades, contractors, and professional services. This seminar is meant to kind of bridge the gap between taking a trade or a craft and then learning new ways to do marketing across a variety of industries, whether it's residential, commercial, and those who are looking to go federal and government route as well. So we'll start off with marketing basics and kind of build from there. I'll also share a little bit more about me here in a moment. So there's going to be three main focus areas for today. Marketing basics, and then we'll go into digital and social media, and then we'll end with helpful hints. At the end of each of these sections, we're going to break it up and allow for Q&A, a brief one, a couple of questions, just so then you guys are able to get some of your questions out. At the end, we'll also have a larger portion for Q&A to get more questions in for today. In addition, I know that the recording as well as these materials are going to be sent out after our session has concluded. I'll start off with just a little bit about me so you guys kind of know who you're hearing this from. Again, my name is Chanel Curry. I was born into a U.S. military family. My father served in the Air Force for nearly 30 years. The reason why that's important is I have no hometown. So moved around a lot. That gave me a very unique perspective into how business is done in various locations and understanding it a little bit better from a variety of industries as well. I hold degrees in marketing, entrepreneurship, and digital innovation, as well as a professional certificate in SEER. From that, I have worked in marketing or strategy roles, whether it was owning my own businesses as an entrepreneur, working for startups. I've worked for private firms as well as Fortune 500 companies in the public sector. So I'm trying to bring all of my years of experience and lessons and learnings to help you guys improve your marketing. But enough about me. I do want us to go ahead and get started. So we're gonna start with our marketing basics. For me, marketing, one, I'm biased because I'm a marketer by trade. Marketing is one of the most important things that you can do for a business. But what is it and why does it matter? So one, marketing focuses on informing, differentiating, and connecting. So it informs people about you. So you understand a little bit more about the purpose, the mission, and objectives of your business. It also differentiates you from your competitors. So then people are also going to do a comparison, but they need the messaging that you put out there and able to do so. In addition, it connects you, not just to your potential clients that you haven't gotten yet, but it also kind of helps bridge that gap for any former customers you've had in the past, and it helps you maintain a connection to your existing ones. So in Marketing 101, you will always hear the 5P, 4P, 12P model. I use the 5P because I believe that it explains enough about what marketing is and should be without getting too detailed into the weeds. So for me, marketing is these 5 items: people, process, place, price, and promotion. And I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into what each of these mean. But first and foremost, if you're thinking about marketing in each of these categories, you'll extend your success. because you have to focus on it from each of these individually and make sure that you're building up your operations as well as your marketing messaging, as well as wherever you're spending your marketing dollars. So what do these 5 mean? So first, for people, this spans across how do you brand yourselves? Do you guys have branded polos and t-shirts when your crew is out? What is your customer service like? What is your phone etiquette? Even down to the suppliers and partners that you all work with. From a product perspective, there's oftentimes I will hear people say, well, I don't sell products, I sell services. That still matters here, right? So your service mix, the quality, the warranties that you put behind your work, your level of experience, and then any personalizations or customizations you do. From a price perspective, what is the price? But even outside of that, how do you work with people in order to make sure that they are able to pay you on time? So having credit terms, offers, discounts, even down to price matching. These are things that are also going to increase word of mouth marketing, where if somebody had a positive experience with you, then they'll want to go and share that information with others as well. Place, I think in real estate, you guys will always hear location, 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 right? And so from a place perspective within marketing, it's where do you service? How close are you to the people who need you? Or how quickly can you get to them? The distribution channels that you set up, this is also going to tie into the partnerships that you have. So if you have a subcontractor that is 3 hours away, it's going to be very difficult for them to get to you. But it also could expand your network. So based on the operations that you set up for yourselves, that's something for you to consider in making sure that you are positioning yourself from a location perspective in the right way. And then lastly, in promotion, everything right now is kind of a digital age, right? So making sure that you're on media and social media, your network affiliations, you have 2 here where you can begin networking with others just like you and start building your partnerships from there, as well as any community involvement. So again, these are the 5 P's: the people, product, price, place, and promotion. And if you begin to focus on these, this is where you want to start in building up your marketing strategy. Ask yourself questions of, are we doing the best in these 5 areas? If not, find ways to improve them. And then from there, you keep building messaging around how do you explain to customers where you stand in each of these 5 categories. So, in speaking the language of your audience, that's one of the most important things about marketing, because you're always going to be explaining something about you or your business. So what we've done is we've broken this down by residential, commercial, and then federal and government. I'm actually in a process of renovating my home right now. And so I very much extend into this residential side when I'm looking for contractors in my area. So for me and others like me, experience and their recent work matters most. I want to know that I am hiring somebody who can actually do the job, and I want to see examples of it, of houses similar to mine or possibly even better than mine, so that I can get inspiration. From a commercial perspective, however, then you have to kind of build up a little bit, because their needs are different from a residential homeowner. So they're going to be looking at your qualifications and then the partnerships that you've set, because they want to know that your business, not just you as the individual, but your business can also assist whatever their needs are. From a government perspective, so federal and government are tied into this one, looking at your level of expertise. How skilled are you and how has that been proven, as well as your scalability. Even though there will be smaller projects sometimes within the federal and the government sector, they still care about, for you to be able to win the bid, that you aren't going to win the bid and then run out. Where sometimes you see that, sadly, in a negative form, a lot with residential and sometimes with commercial. The federal and government scalability is going to be extremely important, and they want to be able to hear that and have solace in that. All right, so there's a lot of material. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this, Janet, if we have any questions to start before we go into section 2.
Not so far, so we're good to go.
All right. Well, then we will go ahead and get into digital and social media, which this is my favorite area. And I probably have more years of experience in building up either digital profiles as well as social media. So having a website is one of the most important things that you can have from a marketing perspective in today's realm. If you just have a Google profile or a Facebook business page, those are helpful, but it doesn't tell your whole story. So what we've done is listed out what are the 10 things that you need on your website. Oftentimes people say, oh, building a website is too difficult. I don't have anyone to do that. I don't know how to do it. Thankfully, there are a lot of now free services. You have Wix, Weebly, WordPress, Squarespace, where you can go use a template and set one up very, very quickly. I'll also stress that your website does not have to be super expansive. You can get by with 1 to 2 pages that are built, as long as, again, in my opinion, that they funnel all of these 10 items on your pages. So having a description of your company, who you are, what you stand for, your service capabilities, what it is that you guys do and supply, a list and map of service areas. This ties back to the place part of the 5P model. Your past and recent projects, because people also need to be able to see what it is that you've done. And then in addition to that, having an image gallery. So then people are able to go through and witness a little bit more of your hard work. Asking for testimonials from whether it's a partner, subcontractor, past clients, those are normally helpful because people do tend to make a purchase decision based off of the opinion of others. Any links to social media, which we'll get more into in a moment, a contact form, and you want to make sure that you are monitoring these contact forms and that any input or, anyone that submits in a contact form, it'll be emailed to an email address that is regularly monitored. 9th is news and public relations. Feel free to announce that you've won certain bids or you're working on a new project in a certain area and build up a little bit more information about you on the digital side. And then any NAAQS codes and classifications that you or your employees hold. So these are the top 10 things that your website should have. If they don't, go ahead and start adding them. And as we start talking more about search engine optimization, this will hopefully make a bit more sense as to why these are the top 10. On social media, the 3 things which are at the top that are the most relevant in having more of a regular posting schedule. 1, keeping your contact information up to date. If email addresses, location changes, phone number changes happen, you also want to make sure that you don't miss updating that across your social media platforms. Being responsive to positive and negative comments. Never get into a fight with anybody online. If there are negative comments, thank them for that, apologize for the situation, and then move on, because you don't want people to come on and see any negative comments that are left unanswered. But you also want to thank people for their positive comments because it'll encourage them to come back and say more. And then again, posting any recent and relevant content, images of projects that are ongoing, before and afters, any of those will help in building up your social media profiles. You also have a number, and this is not even a full extensive list of social media platforms, but you have a number of them that matter most in where people will go to find additional information about you. So there's a certain level of frequency that you would need to post, and which is why we have this scale at the bottom. So I'll start from the left. So Better Business Bureau, your Google profile, Yelp, even Angie, formerly Angie's List. These are ones where you can post your profile, get your business information up there. And then from there, just monitor for comments. Make sure that, again, there's a way for people to contact you. Make sure your website is linked on these. So once people find you, then they have a way to get in touch. As you skew further towards the right, you have YouTube and Facebook. These require a bit more frequency, but it can still be parsed out a little bit more. So if you're posting once every 2 weeks to these, sometimes that's okay, because these, although users will use them regularly, you can also set up notifications for when somebody posts to it. So they don't necessarily always have to stay on this on a daily basis in order to find more information about you. On the other hand, you have Instagram and Twitter. These are the ones that require the most frequency out of all social media profiles. Daily or weekly consistent posting is what's going to be required here. As we all know, Instagram is going to be more photo content or video or reels, whereas Twitter is typically used in just character form. You can add photos, but it's less frequent on Twitter itself. The last thing I will say, again, not a fully inclusive list. There are other trade social media platforms. You'll have something like House. I'm trying to think of another one. But on those, any of the trade-based social media platforms would kind of sit within the realm around Yelp and Angie. So having it, also, you can just monitor how often people are on it, how often people are commenting, and then using that as your barometer to determine how often should you be on there and engaging in conversations or adding content. So what needs to be on your social media profile? On the, I will say it's the foundational level, right? Which is the basics that you see on the screen. Having your company name, your physical address, your website, email address, phone number. This goes back to some of the items that were listed on the website must-haves in the top 10. If you want to be more advanced and have a profile that stands out against the rest, having a branded look and feel. You have, there's a website, also an app called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. Here they have free and paid options where it's templates that you can then utilize to create your own branded look for your business based off of your colors, fonts, and things of that nature. Also, in making sure that you're including images of your latest projects, again, across all of your social media where it matters most, where images are allowed. Having branded videos is definitely more of an advanced feature. Some people get stressed out a little bit in trying to build a branded video, but thankfully nowadays there are so many options. You can go on YouTube, you can, if you have Apple products, there are a number of ways where you can do video editing yourself, or you can also hire somebody to create it. If you give them enough content, you can normally have it spread out into multiple videos even, and then you just release them little by little. Having saved stories and highlights. This is mainly for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you go to a couple of pages, you'll see where if you post a story, it'll ask if you want to save it. And then that is existent on the main profile just beneath your name. So having that also helps in creating a branded look and feel. And lastly, posting any of the latest news and public relations. So again, let's say you've won a large bid, having that shared is going to increase word of mouth as well as engagement. All right, so now we'll get into search engine optimization. And this is one where it always kind of takes people aback in understanding how do they rank higher on a search engine result page. So before we get to that, how does SEO even work? All right, so whenever you're online, let's say you go to Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever search engine you use, you'll type in what is called your search query or keywords. So in this example, we're using commercial roofing. Once I type that in and I press enter, now it's going to scan websites for those keywords. And then on the results page, I'm going to see anything that has commercial roofing or the word commercial, and it can break it down. And that's how it'll separate whatever my search query, commercial roofing, is from the actual keywords that are on the websites. From there, now I have a list of choices to look at, and I'm going to select one that's likely towards the top. So let's say I click on what you see on the far right, which is ABC Roofing. Now I'm on their website and I'm able, there we go, to learn a little bit more about them. One of the things that's very, very important about SEO is if you're on the second page, in a way, you're not necessarily going to have the type of results that you want. So how do you get to the top? How do you make sure that you stay on the first page so that you are more than likely to be clicked on? So here we have a couple of do's and don'ts, and I won't drain the slide, but again, the materials will be shared with you all. So from a keywords perspective, what you do want to do is focus on using terms that people naturally use when explaining your business. If you are a roofer, make sure that on your website it says roofing several times. If you try to overload and use certain keywords too much, it actually has negative effects. So try to not cram and not use words that people don't use in their regular language. In partner linking, you can also work with your business partners and ask them to include a link of your website on their page, and you can do the same. This allows for what we call cross-linking. So even if somebody is searching for them, you may still come up, which is going to increase your ranking in search engine optimization. Also, listing your website on industry directories is very important because wherever they are and wherever they market, now you come up as well. So this goes back to Better Business Bureau, again, SBDC. If they have directories, which SBA I know does, this is going to help as well. In digitally interactions. So you can go on various industry related blogs and leave comments. You can also ask the webmaster if it's okay for you to provide a link to your website. Sometimes they'll say no because they don't want spam or any kind of sales within their comments, but many times they'll say yes and they'll be okay with that. You don't want to try to force your way in, right? So always be very polite in requesting this. Also engaging in positive comments within blogs naturally makes sense because you are now being a digital representative for your business. In word of mouth, whenever you finish a project, ask your clients if they'll go and create an online review or testimonial and have them post that where other people are searching for contractors. Don't try to bait them, don't try to force them, and don't coerce them into positive reviews. This will backfire because now what happens is they'll go to 15 other sites and start talking negatively about you. Which again is the opposite of what you want from an SEO perspective, but also from a business perspective as well. And then lastly, where you need to bring in support. So you can either use an online management tool that helps in reputation building, or you can hire somebody for SEO specifically. Google has very good tools online for SEO and how to improve your search engine results. You don't need to spend a lot of money for SEO, I promise you. It is something that is extremely important in this digital age that we are in, but you do not need to spend thousands of dollars, sometimes even hundreds of dollars to do good SEO. Honestly, just following some of these tips, making sure that your website's built out, making sure that you're utilizing the right keywords, that will naturally begin moving you up. Having various social media profiles that has consistent information will naturally move you up. Also, whenever you're posting images of your projects and work, that also helps in naturally moving you up. So again, you do not have to use a lot of money in SEO. All right, so I will pause and see if there are questions. If not, I'm at least going to take a water break before we go into the helpful hints portion. So Janet, did we have any questions?
I don't have any yet, but I do have a couple of questions on myself. So while I'm asking these, if you do have questions, you can put those in the chat or Q&A. That's at the bottom of your toolbar on your screen. So just to let you know where that's at. I want to go back and ask about we were talking about developing the website and putting testimonials on your website. Is it a bad practice to just kind of like link to your Google My Business profile to do that? Or should you actually put those in the website, like, as standalones?
I don't know, that's a very fair question. In this instance, I would say do both, right? This goes back to what we were just talking about with SEO. Having some information in both places makes sense. On your website, take your top reviews or testimonials and place them on your site. You want to refresh them often. On your Google profile, if there's more of them there, right, you don't want to take people away and create an additional action for them when they're doing something that helps.
Okay. In posting onto social media, good practice, not so good practice to use things like Hootsuite to like pre-plan those.
Do you mind saying that one more time? I think my internet started to go out.
Yes, on like utilizing platforms like Hootsuite to pre-plan your postings onto social media. Is that helpful, not helpful?
Very cool. I use them. There's actually some materials within the appendix on that. Some posting can get cumbersome. So having some kind of a scheduler or planner is going to definitely make life easier, where you can go ahead and schedule your posts out. You can also pick the time of day, increasing engagement and things of that nature.
Okay, great. I don't see any other questions, so we'll go ahead and move to the
Make
next
sure
section.
that I look through the appendix items. I'm sorry.
I think we're, I don't see any other questions, so we'll go ahead and move on. Thank you.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. All right, so we'll go into the helpful hints section. So again, understanding that for those who are on today's call, you are either looking at the commercial industry or the federal and government. So I wanted to provide a little bit more information about, if you're not already in this, how do you go ahead and venture into these industries? So if you're marketing to the commercial industry, again, they are going to care more about your level of expertise and recent work that you've done, as well as focusing a little bit more on ensuring that you're able to scale along with the types of projects that they'll have. So for your staff, making sure that you have trained business development and project managers. So typically these are the two roles that are going out to go and collect the information, so then you can provide a bid for that particular project. Making sure that each person on your staff is working together and building a relationship with the commercial, either business owner or project lead, as well as in drafting the bid. What you don't want to happen is going out, sending someone on site, and then coming back and having to have them go out another time to gather additional information that they did not get, or having to redo a bid because of information you didn't gather. Secondly is materials. Always have some kind of a leave behind. Business cards are good, but if you can do a little bit more, that's even better, right? Having a simple one-pager that highlights your company's experience and also drives them to any of your online platforms. And these leave behinds can be print, so something that you actually hand off to them in person, or it can be digital and it's something that you send out to them after your initial meeting via email. Third is connecting. So local trade associations is always a great way to stay connected and understanding who the players are within the commercial industry. Also advertising on industry trade publications. A lot of times the commercial firms subscribe to a number of industry magazines. And so staying close to them, advertising and keeping your name, or at least your brand, in their face as much as you can. And then lastly, in promoting. So again, knowing who the major players are, it's always helpful. So whenever they're looking for projects, you've already connected with them in some kind of a way. So then they'll start thinking about you for upcoming projects. And then also advertising on commercial real estate sites and listings. So even as investors are starting to move around, major projects are going on, most of the time they're going into like city council and things of that nature. Staying close to all of that information and material is going to be imperative. For the federal government, so the federal government is a bit of a different industry in that they have to place their bids online, and you have to already have profiles created to even be considered. You can't just see that there's a contract out and then say that you want to bid on it and try to get in touch with the person in charge. So there's definitely steps that have to be taken. So what this wheel is showcasing, and these are all linked, so when you get the materials, you'll be able to click on everything. Being able to create your profiles on the right websites, making sure that you are visiting the right websites to see what types of contracts are being placed right now. There'll be anything from fixing a door at a courthouse to a complete build of a new project on a military installation. So it'll definitely range. So for SAM, this is the database. Any federal contract that's over $25,000 is listed here, and that is mandatory. They are always on this website. And the System for Award Management is what SAM stands for. For Subnet, this is actually an SBA database of subcontractors. This is a great way to start building up partnerships with people in your local area. For contractor directories, there are several here. So starting off with the SBA, there is a directory that they keep, again, based off of your locale. So for Louisville, you guys would be able to see all of those within Kentucky, as well as expanding across the rest of the country. The GSA directory is run more on the federal side. And then the DoD also has a directory for large prime contractors. And typically what you can do is get in contact with those larger prime contractors who are looking for smaller subcontractors and attach yourself to those projects, or at least place a bid with them to do so. The Federal Procurement Data System, this was actually just recently relaunched not too long ago, I'd say probably about 2 years ago or so. This is going to have the database of contracts also over $25,000. And so you'll be able to see the different types of projects that are coming out with federal dollars here. For the GSA, or the General Services Administration, this actually is the list of the government agencies and the federal buyers. So let's say that when the ARA Act went and they were starting to do a lot of road constructions, bridges, things of that nature. In the GSA, you'd be able to see which of the government agencies are funding these, how much, when are they planning on launching, and then who the buyers are. And then from there, those bids go into the SAM and the Federal Procurement Data System. And then last but not least is the Dynamic Small Business Search. This is a collective list of all small businesses that can be sourced for federal or government work. So this is also a great networking tool, because then you understand a little bit more and you can learn also more about the government agencies who may be searching in the future. So these are 6 great sites for you guys to focus on. Create your profiles if you have not already, if you are trying to get in the federal government system. That way you'll be able to start seeing more information about the projects that you may be able to bid on. And so I want to end in helping you guys understand, again, from a marketing perspective, how people buy. All right, so everyone makes decisions based off of something that matters most to them. In addition to that, people only want to do business with somebody that they know, like, or trust. And so what you see on the right-hand side is the buyer's price sensitivity from low to high, and then the value that they hold with their purchase decision. So in the bottom left corner, you have convenience buyers. These are the impulse shoppers. So if you think of going to Walmart or Target or any grocery store, and you see the candy at the checkout line, grabbing that. That wasn't the whole reason why you went into the store, but because you saw it, it's convenient to you to grab. Most people will not make a major decision like hiring a contractor or tradesman based off of convenience only. It might be a factor because of time, but that's normally not what they're going to do. Above that, you have price buyers. These are ones who are going to comparison shop. I myself have had 3 or 4 contractors come in to give me an estimate just so that I understand what I'm up against from a budget perspective. Even though I don't solely make my decision based on price, I will do a little bit of information gathering before I make a buying decision. So this is one where you might have to focus a bit more on that price category within the 5 Ps. To the right of that, you have value buyers. These are ones who are going to compare price and quality. So is there a warranty tied in? Is there payment arrangements that I can look at? They're also going to comparison shop, and it's not just going to be price, which is the price buyers. That is their main factor, but they want a little bit of everything rolled into one to make them feel good about their buying decision. And then lastly, relationship buyers. So these are those who, once they make a buying decision, they are locked in. These are also the people who will typically be more willing to write reviews and testimonials because they feel a connection to you, or your values match in some way where they feel so comfortable in doing business with you that they will tell everybody about it, or they're going to hire you over and over again. So their decision is based off of, do your values match theirs? Do your interests match theirs? If they need somebody to do a job quickly, effectively within the next week, and you give them the confidence that you can do that within their price, that's your relationship that you've just built with them, is you've built up confidence in them. So just wanted to end on that so you know that even with marketing, it's still in a sense a sales game where you also have to, again, speak to who the customer is, how they think, and then understand what is going to help them in making their final buying decision. So as I mentioned, I know we're at the end, and so I know I want to leave time if there are any questions that have come in. I will flip through just so you all see as well that there is an appendix here, which provides additional information of some of the things that we've talked about today. This is just meant to be an additional guide for you all that breaks down a little bit more on metrics that matter from a digital and social media perspective, and awareness, engagement, and conversion. And then how do you track information? How do you measure your effectiveness in posting or on social media? So there's a breakdown of that. And then where do you find this information to then view your effectiveness? How do you view your post insights? And this is a screenshot example from Instagram. And then last but not least, to Janet's question earlier, some additional information on different types of either tools that are online that you can then use to help tracking your analytics, scheduling, to Janet's point, your social media posts, as well as doing video. So with that, I will stop sharing and turn back over to Janet. But thank you guys so much for your time today.
Excellent, excellent. We do have a couple of questions. So Amy has a question. She says, cold calling doesn't work with connecting with hospital COOs, hiring managers. We are associated with several groups, but how do you get an audience with the decision makers? We're a women-owned travel nurse agency trying to get into the local market. She's in Louisville, but my business partner is in the Houston area. So how do you connect to those, like she said, decision makers?
A great question. So typically in especially in like the hospital or ministry, the decision makers is not just one person. There's either a board or multiple of the medical directors for that specific hospital that are making the purchase decisions because they typically spread out their budgets. So one way to find them is go on websites. You'll typically be able to find who the managing directors are for that particular hospital. From there, you might have to do just a little bit of research and going to any of their functions or looking at what industries they're a part of. I can almost guarantee you 1 or 3 of those final decision makers are going to be the ones who go in attendance to any of those events. Also, if and within the city, if there are any major construction projects that are happening that could impact that particular hospital, they will send somebody out to go and learn more and actually sit in the city council meetings. And so you can learn a little bit more, network with them naturally and organically, and start asking a little bit more information of exactly who it is that you should speak with in order to place bids.
Excellent, excellent. So Bradley has a question that we hear from all types of small business owners, not necessarily just tradespeople, but he wants to find an affordable local digital marketing company to handle all the marketing that for his company within his budget. And most small business owners, they have to do all the pieces of their business. So how do you find someone that, that's, reliable, reasonable, all the things,
Yeah.
to, help them or have them do those pieces for your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll answer it a couple of different ways to give a variety of options, just depending on the size and what the actual budget is. So again, marketing is very expansive. I think you guys saw that from the content from today's meeting. There's one route is going to your local college, finding somebody who is willing to take on a small paid internship and doing marketing. 9 times out of 10, if you have somebody who's studying business, marketing, or communications, they already understand what needs to be done, and you just give them the tasks and they run with it. So that's one route. If you're not comfortable with that, completely understand. There are marketing professionals who will freelance. So you have websites like Upwork where you can go create a profile. It's free for you. And then you can type in what you are looking for, and it'll give you a list of people in your area, or you can expand it if you don't care if they're local to you, who could do certain tasks or even come on full-time as a contractor. I've actually hired people this way to help with additional tasks when I just couldn't carry all of the marketing efforts for myself, right? So you can have somebody who's specialized in just social media posting and analytics, or you can have somebody who's running your entire marketing campaign and hire them for 6 months, 3 months, a year, and then speak with them directly about, hey, can I bring you on full time? And then discuss, kind of a budget, salary, and things of that nature from there. To go more of a professional route when you're hiring a marketing firm or a marketing strategist like myself, that you would want to kind of research, again, most of them should be a member of your Chamber of Commerce. If they are not a member of your Chamber of Commerce, I would question that from a marketing perspective, honestly. So if you're not a part of your Chamber of Commerce, go in and find out who are some of the marketing firms who are there, because they should be there trying to collect more information about other businesses that then they can sell their services to. So that's one way you can kind of start getting some more information. Priority level. So let's say for the next quarter, you need website maintenance and social media creation. And just start there, get rates on that, and then move on to the next things and continue to scale. That way you're not spending all of your money up front. From a budget perspective, I would also add that you want to schedule everything that you need out month to month and what you're willing to pay. Some companies will try to ask for the money up front. I would say kind of push back and say that there should be an additional, like a retainer at the beginning, small, and then from there you pay on output. And then that should alleviate some of your budget concerns in paying upfront and not necessarily knowing or ensuring their quality of work or output at that point. So hopefully those options kind of get you going.
In that same regard, what should folks do if they're looking to hire someone outside to, say, build their website? What do they need to do to ensure that if they break with that person creating that they still have ownership of their website? Should they do that?
Fair question. Just because somebody is building your website does not mean that they have ownership. So within the contract, you just want to make sure that it states that you have full rights and ownership, and that you also get login information to what is considered to be the back door, where you can log in and then make changes and edits. What you can also ask them to do is make you the administrator, and then they give themselves like sub-administration rights. So then they can still go in and do the work that you need them to do. But if you ever need to kind of kick them out, you can log in and do so immediately.
Yeah,
And sometimes you can also negotiate a better rate. Sorry. Sometimes you can negotiate a better rate if you allow them to put down at the bottom in a footer, website created by, and then their business name or their, however they're branding themselves. So that's also something that you can use to negotiate.
Excellent. The reason I asked that was because we've had clients ourselves that kind of found themselves in that position where they had spent a couple of years with a firm, and then something happened. They just wanted to pursue another firm or whatever, and they kind of they didn't have that contract with the appropriate information in there and protected. So, Daniel, did you have any additional questions?
Nope, I'm all good.
Excellent, excellent. Chanel, this was great. There's a lot of information, and we love that you shared all that with our folks today. I'm going to invite you to come back for additional sessions if that's okay in the future. We'd love to have you back. Let's see. Excellent. And people coming in and saying thank you. So again, thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us today. Yes, we'll make the recording available. We'll have her presentation available with the additional appendix there. And we'll also include a survey if you guys will fill that out for us, standard practice for the SBDC. But for now, thank you again, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.